teaches conservative people
Do
that
you
these are
think
people.
do you think when a professor says something like the hurricane victims of Houston deserve to die because they supported Trump, do you think that professor should be called out for that?
I think, yes, it's important to call them out, but I don't think
So that's what our project does.
Oh, I understand what you're intending to do, right? But how it's received is it's something where it's really, you're coloring their speech to where it's.
Welcome back to my channel, guys. It's Clinton White here, as you guys already know. Great being back again after like a period of time. So anyway, so we're checking out Charlie Kirk, more of a Charlie Kirk. So this is Charlie Kirk series. Yeah, so college student finds it unsettling. Charlie Kirk exposes woke college professors. I mean, you guys don't know, I like this debate, Charlie Kirk exposing a lot of things that might be new to us. So anyway, guys, let's check it out. Let's get into it.
Personally, I'm someone that really values free speech, right, and like an uninhibited engagement among people that disagree. And it's really unsettling to me that you have this website, professorwatchlist.org, right?
Yep.
That basically tells conservative students that, hey, these professors are very liberal, and you should avoid them.
It doesn't say avoid them.
The official statement I read said it should
Just to expose.
Okay, fine, expose. But even in that, I feel like that colors thought, so that it really teaches conservative people
Do
that
you think when a professor says something like the hurricane victims of Houston deserve to die because they supported Trump, do you think that professor should be called out for that?
I think, yes, it's important to call them out, but I don't think it's.
So that's what our project does.
Oh, I understand what you're intending to do, right? But how it's received is it's something where it's really, you're coloring their speech to where it's not free speech.
No, but
you're
we're not
telling them
saying
what to do
it's
beforehand.
not Professor Blacklist or Professor Hitlist.
But
we're not saying they should shut up or be fired.
But for example, so this one professor, I think his name was Alberto Ponce.
Okay.
I was reading the list and it said that he was, basically he was saying these things, and he was saying that, oh, the Constitution is a white man's Constitution.
Yeah, it's a quite radical sentiment.
Sure, it's a radical sentiment, but it's protected by the First
Amendment. No doubt.
It's something
you and I will agree on
right?
that. He has a right to say it.
Right.
But also, my opinion would be we as conservatives need to signal where that radical ideology is present. And I don't understand, these professors, we're not misquoting them.
Yeah. No, I understand
all this
that.
stuff is, we're just making
but
them
would
more
you agree
famous.
that it's taken out of context, though?
But that's not my fault if someone takes something out of context.
But
so if I says your
providing
sweatshirt
this
is red,
database.
it's not anyone's fault except the interpreters.
Sure, but you're providing this platform for people to spread this misinformation.
Not necessarily.
You don't think it's a platform where people can spread misinformation?
You can say the same thing about the internet or Twitter or Facebook. It's not incumbent on the person who creates the platform to be responsible for how people interpret it.
Of course, but a lot of times when there are people kind of discussing this thing and they hold a similar view, then it creates something that's akin to blacklist. At least that's how I feel.
Okay.
That it's a lot like, or the sentiment reminds me of something like McCarthyism back.
So
you're creating this list of people.
Well, okay. So first of all, McCarthy never published his list.
Sure.
So we have a list and we're very public about it.
Yeah.
Secondly, McCarthy called for the termination of people. We've never called for any termination of any professors.
But would you agree that you can incite some degree of violence against those?
No, not necessarily. No, none whatsoever. I mean, the same would be said if a news reporter. By the way, all these professors we have on there were reported on by other news outlets.
Yeah.
So we cite it all.
Yeah, I understand.
So why not be mad at Huffington Post for all their articles they read about?
I guess my main question to you is basically with all this, right? Mm-hmm. My feeling is that it inhibits this free engagement because it tells people beforehand that, hey, this is what that person believes.
I would disagree. I think it encourages more speech.
Let me ask. All right. So my question is, how can you guarantee that this is not going to inhibit free speech?
You can never guarantee it. But we're using our right to free speech to encourage more speech.
Are you encouraging more speech, or are you silencing that speech?
How are we silencing it?
You're silencing it in the sense that you're telling students that, hey, this person has this preconceived notion, right? So you're giving students this idea that, hey, this professor thinks these things, he believes these things.
So then challenge them
when they
and
take
debate
that
them.
class, they're not going to go into it with this open mind and these free thinkers. They're going to go into it thinking, hey, this professor has this ideal. I should know that when I
But what's
engage
wrong
with
with that?
I think the thing that's wrong with that is
Maybe they're more aware.
That's literally antithetical to free speech, would you say?
No, it's not.
I think it's important to engage with someone and rationalize their ideas.
Of course,
instead of viewing them beforehand.
So when a professor says something like the hurricane comment, which is a real something the United States press said, or from University of Houston, or when the Georgetown law professor a couple weeks ago said, we want Brett Kavanaugh's family to die. They should be made famous when they say stuff like that.
I don't think they should be made famous though,
Really?
because then you're inciting violence against
No, we're
them.
not.
You're
How are you
inciting.
inciting violence?
You're inciting this
It's
negative
like
sentiment
saying a
towards them,
newspaper
right?
incites violence when they cover anything.
But would you agree with me in saying there's a significant difference between a newspaper that's a public outlet and something like TPUSA and something like this,
we're
where you
citing
have a
all
bunch
of
of
it with
like-minded
news
people,
articles.
right? So I don't know. My feeling is just that it creates this environment where speech is not equal.
I appreciate the sentiment.
Yeah, we appreciate your sentiment.
And yeah, I appreciate you coming here. And yeah, it was nice talking to you.
You too, man. Thank you.
Yeah, so probably like calling out professors that are mostly liberals and leftists. Like most of them are like liberals and leftists. So basically, they said some stuff. They said like some stuff that actually doesn't make any sense, especially about the hurricane stuff. So they're trying to say that like people that were affected by maybe like the hurricane or disasters that actually occurred are supporters of a particular party, which does not make any sense. Like it doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense at all. So apparently, what like Charlie Kirk is just trying to make this guy, you know, like he's not saying you should like according to what the guy is saying, like yeah. So he's not like talking about you hating or like putting hatred on this particular professor. What he's just trying to tell you, like you should like expose them, because like things they are doing or things that they talked about, things that they brought up, those thoughts are not making sense to as a person. Those thoughts are actually hurting. The words they said are not right at all. So what he's trying to say, just like expose them, like bring out what they are talking about, you know, what they say, what they did, stuff like that in public, to know that to actually let people know that stuff they are doing are not right. So yeah, that's just my own opinion on the whole thing. Anyway, let me know what you guys think personally for you down in the comment section. Yeah, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.